Hey guys, it's Renee from Raw Branded. If you can't hear me or see me, let me know. And today I want to pose this question up here. I'm posing this question because I want to know from you guys, does this sound anything like you? Does this question above sound anything like you? Are you multi-passionate? For instance, are you a Reiki practitioner, but then you're also a brand photographer? Or maybe you're a career coach, but you're also an artist, right? I'm just thinking of people who are in my own Facebook community, but then I'm thinking of people who I met just in the last couple of weeks and some of the things that you're working on, both in your business, but then the things that you're really passionate about. And if this sounds like you have this, but then you have that, then that's a wonderful thing. You have so many talents, which that's pretty amazing, right? To have so many talents under your belt. And, it speaks to us as humans. We're dynamic. We have lots of stories. We have lots of interest, right? We're dynamic people. And that being said, it's not far-fetched if your business isn't just one-dimensional, right? So you may have several zones in which you are a genius of, which is pretty nice. But how does that work with brand storytelling? How does that even work, right? Especially if you're someone who you may think, oh, I don't want to be pigeonholed into one little box, or, so you haven't maybe even started crafting your brand story. Or maybe you feel like, I don't know where to even begin because I have so many different things that I love to do. I have my business, but I have this too, and I don't want to leave this other thing that I'm doing because it's another part of my personality that I don't want to just wipe that out, right? So it's like you're standing there with like a paintbrush in your hand and like a cooking utensil in another and a screwdriver in the other, and I don't know. You've got a lot of things going on, which is a wonderful thing. But then when it comes down to your brand story, how do you communicate all of that essence? So, in larger businesses, they do this really well. You'll focus on one main brand, and then underneath that, they'll have sub-brands, right? Same thing for us smaller business owners here. You still have your one main brand, which should be centered around you, right? You should build your business around you and your brand story. Because once you do that, then you can pull in all these other different aspects, right? Where it makes sense. That has to be the case, where it makes sense. But in centering you, putting you in the center, you're putting your personality, your why, all the things we keep talking about here. That's going to be the connective thread to all of the different interests that you have, right? But the thing is, you always have to go back to what is your business and what are you trying to put out there? Because you can't lose sight of that too. You still have a business, you're still a business owner, and that still needs to be clear. So just think through which one of your many interests you're making money with, and then let that lead. And then everything else, you can cross-reference all your other interests. You can gel it, just as long as it gels. And it doesn't look like you're trying to be everything, right? Because you can't be everything to everybody, unfortunately. So just making sure that it gels, you can weave it in. But the whole point is to stay on brand, meaning, staying consistent, having a consistent message, making sure that your interests, your personality, use those things to be unique. Use your interests, use those various things you have going on to stand out, but then just making sure that you're very crystal clear on what your service is. So for example, let's say, as we were saying before, you're a Reiki healer, but then you're also an artist, right? You're creative. And being a creative is tied into your brand story, right? So you can use art, because let's say that your healing is your main thing. You're going to use art as the undercurrent for what you do. Or it can even be part of your backstory, if that's the case. It's part of your story. It could be visible on your website. It can be even in your visuals, your social media posts. It can show up in your personality, right? These, even how you position yourself. Like if you're saying, well, I'm targeting artists, it can show up in your positioning, right? So there's still ways to pull in that interest, but still focus on your main service, right? You're not alienating one. You're still focusing on your main service. But then the beautiful thing is it's all wrapped around you. And the great thing is, the most important thing is, let's say, life is crazy. Let's say you decide to change directions and you decide to go off into a whole different other field, and you have new interests. It's a lot easier to work in that new interest into your brand story, than to have to now scrap everything and then shift gears and let people know, well, I'm now a dentist when I used to be, a finance expert. Now you're kind of shifting, and okay, how do we pivot without losing everyone and confusing people now, It's a lot easier to rebrand in that case and shift, because you're still centered on you, right? The story continues. So, if you are multi-passionate, you, once again, are in luck, and you should not have any fear. You can still be multi-passionate and have a cohesive brand story, right? You just have to be really strategic about it, okay? Thank you guys for this one. I was posed this question in another group, and so I had to tackle this topic. If you have questions about this, do leave comments below. I would love to hear about what's going through your mind. If you have multiple passions and you're still trying to figure out how to work that in with your brand, let me know. And if you have further questions, you can always jump on a call with me as well. All right, you guys? I'll see you next time. Bye.